I'm not on rolly things anymore.
Yeah, how do you like the shitty chair?
I'm not okay with it.
I upgraded to my own chair.
This is your own chair too.
Yeah, no. I like this one though.
Yeah. All right. So, what's going on, guys? I'm Chris with Regular Guy Training. With me, once again, I have...
some guy named Josh.
Yes. So, let's talk about this real quick.
Real quick.
It's not going to be real quick.
Get some popcorn.
You've already seen the timestamp probably, and you're like, nigga, this is not real quick.
This is not important. Is it?
Oh, is it though? It is. Again, this is another one of those videos where we sit here and we talk about all kinds of shit that a lot of people just don't. I haven't really looked too terribly hard, but I'm willing to bet that there are not a whole lot of tools you should have for ARs and that kind of stuff, or just working on guns in general. And I'm certain that videos and stuff like that are out there. I'm not saying that we're pioneering anything, but at the same time, we believe this to be pretty important, because when you start getting into this kind of stuff, I'm going to preface all of this, and you can agree or disagree with me if you want to, whatever your opinion is, by saying, before we start buying like 10 million tools to work on guns and all that other stuff, I think it's very beneficial to a person to start by getting that gun, getting their optic and light that they want or whatever, right? Which you can assemble with very basic ass tools. And then running that thing, however you choose to. My methodology of going about it would be, where we come in, and that's classes followed by lots of practice to the point where you start breaking things, like bolt shearing or bolt lug shearing, or having to replace parts like extractors and that kind of thing. Because when stuff is starting to go wrong, okay,
ghosts.
He was looking for his AR tool, and all kinds of shit in here is shifted, making spooky noises. But once things start breaking, once things start wearing out, you now have a task to keep that gun running. So before we buy all kinds of crazy tools, the first thing that I would say is to run it until something wears out.
Yeah. Assuming you don't have the basic set of tools, I wouldn't go to Sears, that they sell tools anymore, and buy every tool that they have, because a lot of times you're not going to use. We got a whole pile of tools that we think are the basic necessities, and then a whole shit ton of things that we like or are specific to something we do.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that I'm going to say what my dad told me, and what's a lot of your parents probably told you, is that if you have a job to do, buy the tools first. And you figure out what tools to buy. It's much easier to do that now by just like jumping on YouTube, looking at videos like this and all kinds of shit like that. And over time, you just collect things. Like, I have 5 million tools. I'm not in my house. I'm at Josh's house. And so I'm missing a lot of stuff that's here, but I have like a little kit of stuff that I have that goes with me pretty much all over. And we're at his place where he's got all of his tools available. So, and that's pretty much where I started too. Like, I was very much on the shooting only part until stuff started breaking, and then it's like, okay, now I have to figure out how to take this apart. Okay, well, what tools do I need? All right, well, then this thing broke or whatever, right? So there's no way to like tiptoe into this really. So we're just gonna have to go at it. So one of the first things that you're gonna probably end up having to deal with is that you're probably gonna have to screw and unscrew stuff. So as far as like Allen keys and that kind of stuff, I love these things right here. They're very portable. It keeps your shit like together. That's a big thing about this, is that it keeps your stuff together. Because like as far as like Allen keys and stuff are concerned, I just make sure that I have an English and a metric set for both, and I got a set of Torx also. Even though I fucking hate Torx bits on everything. I'm not a fan of that design at all, but stuff in the world uses it, so you need to be able to handle that. And this is like a simple thing you can buy at Walmart. That and like flatheads, because you'll first encounter that. When we did a video on Loctite and that kind of stuff. So you know, that'll get you off the start pretty good. But once you have stuff that starts to break, that's when we start needing other tools. So why don't you introduce like your kit? Because
the kit
that everybody uses, and we'll sit there because we
brought
it up.
Yeah, they use my kit. They don't have their own.
Yeah, they use your kit all the time.
Okay, so this is the kit. The manufacturer's Chapman Engineering. This is their little master kit 5575. If you look it up, it's worth its weight in gold, and it weighs a little bit. So, okay, only knock I have in this entire kit is the latch sucks. So usually I just run a big ass rubber band, but I have to get up to show you. And framed. Okay, so you have everything organized in a line. These actually pop out, stuff like that. And this is in a case review, but what's cool about it is it's all fitted just perfect. So you have, I'll just pick this one. It's, come on, focus, baby. It's knurled at the end. It's got the little locking nipple in there or whatever. So what it is, and I have to set it down for a sec. Actually, you demo it. You hold it. Yep. So, I mean, this is a basic idea where they just pop in. No big deal.
And we have extensions.
We have, and this all comes in the kit. This very long extension. We got.
And we have.
Well, we got the much shorter extension. You can see comparison-wise. Boom. And then this is the absolute coolest thing ever. Yeah, I'll just set them right here for now. I'll just take this. So, you guys have, you deal with scope rings, stuff like that, or you just can't get in there. Boom. That looks massive because I'm like right up on the camera. But it's a little ratchet. So I'm loosening here, and then if you want to tighten, you just flip it around. You can get anywhere. Let me give you something to, okay. Here's a BCM Mod 1. You can see.
It's a FSC 556 guy.
Yeah, whatever. It's one of those things, and it's what, roughly 1.5 inches?
Yeah.
Okay. So, comparison.
Yeah. I didn't. He has nothing but BCMs in his house, so
yeah.
I
Okay.
Fuck him up with that.
Here we go. Boom. 762 by 39. Did I get that right?
What's that?
762 by 39. Did I get that right? Okay. So you see, guys.
Possibly. I'm not sure.
But
I think the slope faces use that wrong.
So that's my basic kit here. I love it. When I bring it in my range bag, which I do bring it everywhere, I knew that was gonna happen. 1 second. You're good. I just leave it on the table, and I'm like, hey, if you need something, here it is, and yeah.
And what's kind of cool about that too is that like so many times when guys are like Loctiting stuff or breaking screws off. That are set with Loctite. That little ratchet's amazing because those little Allen keys will just not get the job done. So it's one of those things that you can go kind of slow on and just kind of crack the whole thing out loose because it really helps out a lot. These, for instance.
Well, these will bend sometimes.
Yes. So like even if you're looking at something like that, and this is good for like a real basic set of screws or whatever. This isn't even really all that good at all for breaking. Like screws loose from Loctite because if you try to turn it, it's only supported on that right there, so it'll just keep going and keep bending, and that's when you're just kind of like, all right, well, now I need to fuck around with this little ratchet, which is fine. And the cool thing about it too is that because you can put a little bit of your hand behind it too, you can adjust the torque properly and keep everything flat, so you're not trying to go at it at an angle, and that is exactly how you fuck up screws. You know, if you're going at it like an angle like that, and your key or whatever it is that you're trying to use is just not flush. So, I mean, that thing gets all kinds of fucking use, and it's absolutely invaluable.
I think it's around $100 for the kit.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's hard to stomach when you first want to buy it or whatever, but once you have it.
Once you got it, you won't want to give it up. So, so there's that. And really, realistically speaking, like a set of keys and that kind of stuff and a flathead will get you by on a lot of the real basic stuff. But as a lot of us had figured out over time, you start getting involved in bigger and bigger and bigger things to the point where it's just kind of like, all right, well, here's a stripped lower and here's a stripped upper. I'm going to watch shit out of some YouTube, and We're going to try and assemble a rifle together.
Mm.
This isn't an AR building video, but what I am going to say, because it's a real common rifle, is that if you're going to do that, do not shortcut on the directions at all. Like, for instance, a torque wrench, right?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody, when somebody tells you to use a torque wrench and you've got your shit mounted up to it, and they tell you a 90-degree angle, do a 90 fucking degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff like that, because that is exactly how a lot of home builds get criticized and stuff, because dudes start taking shortcuts, and also they buy shit parts and that kind of thing too. But there's a whole video we can do on that. God damn it, it keeps coming up.
Well, I got torque wrenches too. I just didn't feel like bringing them out for this.
But yeah, so there's that kind of thing as well. So if you're going to do stuff like that, if you're going to start fucking around with the parts on your rifle, I'm not telling you not to do it, because I'm not going to insult people's intelligence. What I will say is that if you're going to do it, do not take shortcuts. Okay? Don't be that guy that's like, well, I just do. No. What you just did was fuck something up.
So you're saying that they're allowed to modify their rifles, unlike some other people.
And come to class, yes.
And they can use their modified rifles?
And come to class, yes.
Wow. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, it's not like I can sit here and talk shit. Like, every rifle, every single AR that you've seen in the last 2 years on this channel has not been a complete rifle. It was assembled. And that's horse shit. Sorry, I'm just gonna say it. It's fucking horseshit.
I didn't say anything.
Like this guy right here, right? Call him Ricky Bobby because it's real hard to not go fast. Okay. Got it. Freaking. This whole goddamn thing, okay, was assembled part for part. Okay. And while in Louisiana, I was testing out a baby cog on it, the TA-44, and we're hitting at 500 yards. On a target that's 18 inches across by 20 high. You know, so not the smallest target ever, but still, a home-built rifle is hitting shit at 500 yards.
Some people would say you're lying.
Yeah, well, I had witnesses. So, and one of them happens to be a safety spec coordinator for NASA, okay?
NASA?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fucking, yeah, we make jokes. But point is that, like, you get home build issues when you don't follow directions and when you don't use proper tools also. That's a big fucking problem, is when dudes try to shortcut it by not using the correct tools. So this is one of the big reasons why we have this video. But it's one of those things where it's like, dude, it's a freaking it's a BCM barrel with a RWMD upper receiver. Their bolt and carrier group. Freaking a key mod, freaking a Surefire dual port up front, freaking what in the hell is this even called? A Scotsman arms lower. Okay, so long as the parts aren't horribly out of spec, you're fucking good. You know. Oh, and there just so happens to be a Geisley Super 3 gun in there too. It's amazing how that's.
Ooh, you're not supposed to have that.
It's amazing how not unsafe that is.
You're not supposed to have that.
Fucking
just
whatever.
Delete that whole section.
Just, yeah, whatever. Point is that if you're gonna do it, have the right tools. So moving on from that, let's go ahead and talk about this. Gadget tools. It's important to know what stuff means on these little gadget tools and stuff, like for instance the ubiquitous AR wrench, right, that a lot of guys have. First things first, the stuff that's on here, once you start getting into a lot of modern parts, a lot of shit that's on this is not applicable anymore. For instance, the barrel nut portion of this wrench, okay, that fits great on a standard barrel nut. Right, that's what it's for. It's to crank on a standard barrel nut. Okay, fucking whoopee. It's not the same as a BCM KMR barrel nut, but they provide one. See what I'm saying? There are some pretty shit AR tools out there where you can see this side, which is just the friggin' 3 tits. A lot of guys will sit there and try to crank those on these, which you'll just shear them.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're applying like 40 plus foot-pounds of force onto 40 to 50, or you want to stay below like 65, of course. Like stay in spec of your barrel nut. And that varies a little bit too. So again, follow directions and that kind of thing. But on a standard one, I usually end up at right around 50 foot-pounds. And if you try that with this, you're going to break shit, you know. But these are kind of cool because you have a lot of stuff just available for you. Like this guy's ready to go, so you can attach a torque wrench to it and just crank on it. And that's why you're fitted to 90 degrees, and then you triple check and that kind of shit. You know, you have your castle nut stuff. You have your older tip for older barrel nuts and that kind of thing. Or, I'm sorry, castle nuts and that kind of thing. Freaking muzzle device. Where the fuck did that thing go? That will sit there and fit on a lot of different muzzle devices and that kind of thing. Make sure that you don't have an insane amount of play, because, you know, and make sure that you know where stuff is supposed to go. Like on this guy, this shit ain't gonna work here. Right, on the dual port, you know, but instead you have a different type that you run out to the front of this thing versus way back here, and that's how you freaking bend shit. So again,
now he knows.
Oh yeah. I've been that person before. Freaking. So again, if you're gonna grab tools and that kind of stuff, again, don't just buy this shit willy nilly. Actually learn how to use it. So what else do we have here?
Think something.
Got a little ball peen here.
Yeah.
This is like your AR hammer, and we have an AK hammer here. No shit, like this is. Oh no!
Oh, that was close.
You hit the tripod.
Sorry, tripod.
It's not.
It's an AK hammer.
It's not meant to hit tripods. So, Jesus fucking Christ.
I said whoop.
So yeah, I honestly, that's about how they're used. I generally use these on ARs and use that for AKs.
I break everything.
Yeah, well, actually, here's the thing though. I've used that on AR front sight bases before too, because those tapered pins are cunts.
Well, that, and if you get paint all on your barrels, you gotta
that
get your gas
too.
block off.
Oh, and by the way,
yeah.
If you paint your stuff, something that you're gonna have to just accept is that when those guns heat up, it basically heat treats that shit onto your components, so those tapered pins become a real bastard then. That's a good segue into punches. So you want to grab those punches.
Find all these little punches. We'll talk about the punching punches.
Yeah, the punching punches.
Yes.
Straight punch. Okay. And again, this video is for like our new people, right? Straight punch is used for a straight pin. Okay. And a straight pin is something. Focus. Is something like that. That would be a straight pin. A roll pin punch, otherwise known as a spring pin punch, because they have a little bit of springiness to them. So they tend to be a little oversized, right? A spring pin punch is not flat like that. You'll see that there is a little round tit on the end of that thing. Focus. There's a little round tit on that thing that's used to insert itself into spring pins. Like for instance, this guy in here. Get some better light on it on this side. This guy on here, for this trigger guard, is a spring pin. Okay? Now, if you try to go like that with a straight punch, you're going to break shit. Or, on the way in, you're just going to bend that pin beyond repair. So, you want to use the correct tools for the correct stuff.
On reassembly, these really help. It's not necessary, but... So what happens here
Well, you get to talk too.
Oh, cool. It's my turn.
Back here.
So what's cool about this is your roll pin, spring pin, all that good stuff slips in it. So when you go to assemble, hit it 1 or 2 times and then take your other punch. This is just so you don't damage or mar it. Not a big deal. But it really does help, because what happens is you'll get in there with a punch. It's probably the wrong size anyways. You're going to whack on it. You'll split it open just a little bit. and now you are fighting metal against metal, not trying to insert it. So these help.
And anybody who's pushed in pins before and that kind of stuff, we all know that feeling where you start with that straight punch, right? And it feels like you need about 14 fingers to hold the pin into the correct place, and then you got to hold the punch, and then you have to keep the punch straight, and then you have to drive that down, and that's what those are really good for, because you can just insert those fuckers in there, and then you can get them started, and then use a straight punch or a roll pin punch for whatever it is that you need.
Yep.
And yeah, they help a lot.
Little bags are cool too.
Yeah, with a lot of different things.
Let's see what else. We'll just start working.
I can't tell you how many times I've really, really needed a big ass flathead, right? They help, and this is actually how you save the front ends of a lot of freaking.
This is actually a pry bar. I've been a car guy my whole life, so I've already had most of these tools. But sometimes when wiggling this isn't going to work and you start breaking tips or bent like this one is, you see you move the cameras. So you can't tell it's bent, but it is, trust me.
I moved the camera.
Well, it was on that side last video.
It was on, yeah, but it was fine, and then you decided to AK hammer it.
There's no evidence of that. So if you got to move some shit and it's got to get out of their way, this is your AK pry bar. Obviously, we're just saying because it's robust, but yes, must. So we talked about hammers,
and the cool thing is that a lot of the gun guys in the background are already just kind of checking the boxes, like, I got that, I got that. Fuck, that's cool, I want that.
Yep. Or like maybe that guy says something in the comments and we see it like, oh, dude, it's one thing I've been fighting with, like on the AR lower build. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Instead of just needle nose pliers, you just got to get in there. I've got a whole bunch of pliers. I'm not going to bring them all out. I've got small ones, big ones. These are just the ones I keep in the armory. He's got some too. And then these little files, then cheap ass like Harbor Freight or something. Yeah, like 6-piece. You get it for a couple of bucks, AutoZone or whatever. These things are worth their weight in gold too, because there's sometimes you just get a little nick in some metal and the part won't go on or slide in properly or whatever. And just clean it up with a little file.
See, and here's what's kind of funny too, is that like, if you start getting into it and you start pulling in a lot of knowledge, and you like let's say that you take a armorer's course for the AR and that kind of stuff, or your MOS is small arms and artillery repair. That's actually my secondary MOS. You start noticing things that are supposed to be there, and every once in a while you'll see from a factory gun something that was supposed to happen didn't happen. Right? Like on that one, I'm actually really bothered because when I put that lower together, I punched that spring pin a little bit too far on that trigger guard. Like I noticed it immediately. And it's one of those, I mean, shit, you guys saw it. Like I tried to show it to you, and I was just kind of like, oh, the lighting's gay, and I was just kind of like, oh, you know, friggin' whatever, and you couldn't see it. I was like, I flip it over, and the spring pin here is flush only with the freaking receiver, and it's supposed to be even on either side, right? Just to prevent it from walking and that kind of stuff. So like 2 seconds after the camera goes off, I'm just gonna rectify that a little bit, you know. Just something as simple as that, because I even remember that I punched that thing through at Sunshine's place in his single guy apartment. So I was just trying to bang it home. But
so you just used a random thing for a hammer?
Oh no, he actually had a set of the hammer
AK magazine. Did you use AK magazine?
No, I used a freaking crescent wrench.
That works.
Yeah, it was heavy enough.
Yeah,
I had the right punches for it, but I pushed it too far.
This is a crescent wrench,
otherwise known as an adjustable wrench.
Yeah.
They're good for stuff.
Yeah, it's good to have.
They're just not the thing.
Yeah, they're better hammers.
it's kind of like the saying about one size fits all. That's a one size fits all wrench, which is two lies in one. Right? It's not truly the best thing for all sizes, but if it doesn't require a stupid amount of torque, yeah, it works fine.
Right.
I've actually used those on muzzle devices before.
I was just gonna bring that up. Instead of having all the hand wrenches ever made, if you already don't have them.
I took off a muzzle device with like goofy dimensions on it a little while back, and fucking AR wrench wouldn't do it because it was just the cut was weird, and I was just kind of like, fuck it, and I used the crescent wrench on it and cracked right off.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a stupid amount of torque to get one of those things off. bag of Loctite. We did an entire video on this, but this is just a way to keep that organized.
Just always keep it with you.
Yeah. Just in stuff.
And then...
sockets.
Once you get to it, it's a little basic socket kit. These are 1/4-inch drive. I put this little kit together. It's no big deal. But all your metric and standard sizes, you'll run into little different weirdo things. So it's good to have.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely good to have. I keep looking at an entire box of tools, but none of them are like, okay, you have to have this in your kit.
Yeah.
These are things that I like that I've modified maybe, or they work specifically for a specific gun.
Now I'm gonna bring what I prefaced this video with back. You'll notice that most of the stuff here is his tools, but my stuff at the house is very similar. Right, again, I'm at his place, not mine. I just happen to have what I have. Mostly that's like a cleaning kit over there with some spare parts and some shit like that. But I had a couple of tools that were good for it, especially like the AR wrench, which tends to go with me everywhere. But you'll notice that this is just shit that we've collected over time. Just most of the time, it's because we gotta solve some kind of problem, right? There's some kind of goofy shit going on with a gun, and then we get it fixed, and it's up and running again. Or I'm assembling a rifle for pick a reason. You know, like one of the what is it, like 6 builds I've done in here?
Something like that.
Just in the last year or two.
Yeah,
something like that. Right. Between like short guns, freaking 20-inch gun, which I need to put a fucking barrel in. Oh yeah, I killed that barrel, by the way, guys. A longevity review's coming. It just died during a class, not on camera. Freaking Ricky Bobby was assembled here twice because there used to be a different rail on it and that kind of stuff. You know, just all kinds of shit. That was just messed with here, and like all kinds of AK problems were solved down here. That's where a lot of these bigger tools are coming from, honestly. Like the file kits and stuff like that. You know, a lot of that's AK stuff. You know, and you're a reloader too, so there's all kinds of shit.
Well, yeah, they can't see what's behind this, but massive amount of equipment. It's a disaster right now. That's my little guy, my little red press.
Yes. So, you know, there's more to go through and there's more to talk about for sure. But we're just on like a lot of the basic tools that we've ended up accumulating and that kind of thing. And it's not fucking rocket surgery, okay? It doesn't have to be that complicated.
Yeah.
You know, these are just things that we've collected over time and just things that we want to help guys out with and that kind of thing. So I know we missed something. Like we had to have missed something.
Channel locks.
Oh, cool thing to have. Oh yes, channel locks for sure. But
a Vise. Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, a Vise.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of this cool stuff goes into. Yep. I've used this a lot. He's changed up a lot of different. You can change up the positions on it and that kind of stuff. And you can see that it's in a pretty good freaking bench.
Well, this here is a plate. It's for reloading. So like, long story short, there's 2 wing nuts here, and this whole assembly comes off, and then you mount another adapter plate to another piece of equipment for reloading, and it slides in. So I can put a press here. Actually angle down here. So you guys can see, I didn't plan on showing this off, but there's a base plate here, base plate there, base plate here, a little cutoff tool for when I do my 7.62 times 25 stuff. There's a base plate for the Hornady powder measure. And I've got some other ones like behind the curtain stuff.
And what's kind of funny about that too, I mean, yeah, fucking, I was already thinking about that.
I kept looking at it.
Yeah, see, like, I was thinking, man, this has been way too short. We might as well bust out all the good shit.
This thing is, you just have to have it if you're going to torque out on it.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, because a lot of good stuff can happen.
Let's just pull it here, pull this up right here.
Yep.
Okay, so behind the curtain and pull out an upper.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. This is one of yours.
No, that's one of yours.
Oh, it's one of mine.
That's the one you blew up.
Oh.
That I'm gonna salvage it.
Okay, good luck. Don't get hurt. Okay, so now this guy, right? Yeah. What it has is a couple of lips right in here, and you hook those up, and you basically have your vise close in.
Vise, yeah.
So your vise crushes in along that, and that sets on top of it, right? So you have both vise ends coming in on that side. Fucking, hold on. And what's cool about this is that you have a way to slip this into a vise and not destroy your friggin' upper. So just from there, you have a good solid platform to sit there and mess with stuff, because now I can sit here with a freaking AR wrench, push this bastard out of the way, get on this friggin' barrel nut if I wanted to. Move out of the way. And as you can probably tell, these are kind of a bastard, but once it's on there, it's on there. You know, and all you gotta do is just keep it straight, and you friggin' crack it loose and all that shit.
With your AK hammer.
Yeah, with your AK hammer. Or,
be careful.
Well, these don't have a shitload of foot-pounds on them.
Right.
If it's seized up, yeah, I've hit wrenches with hammers before to get them to crack loose. But if it's something that I assembled myself and I just killed the barrel in it, I know all I gotta. It just requires, and it comes out. Like,
well, plus doing muzzle devices, you can get it proper.
Yeah, and muzzle devices as well, because you can make sure that everything's straight. Gas blocks are the same thing, just like you said, because again, you can make sure that all that stuff is straight. Like, I mark them out and do that kind of thing, and when the 20-inch barrel comes in, we're gonna have to do something like that on builds and that kind of shit. But, you know, and what's cool about that is this works great just for lining up freaking gas tubes with, like, your standard...
The flappy doors in the way.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to go too fast. But... I forgot what that looked like. Alright, so this thing is great because all it does is insert itself in place of where your bolt and carrier group go, and all this is a gas tube alignment tool, so that you can make sure that all of the stuff on your slip ring and the spring portion of that slip ring is out of the way. You can get in here with screwdrivers and move that stuff. And then you just make sure that it pushes right through. It gets through the barrel nut itself. And let me see. What are these? And all you got to do at that point is just kind of move stuff out of the way. Once that's moved out of the way, once all that is moved out of the way and everything's lined up, see, and even looking at it right here, this barrel nut is not lined up because, get some better light, because you can actually see probably in that hole there that alignment tool is making contact with that barrel nut, right? So that's when, you know, you find out, okay, well, I've got to tighten down on it a little more, or if you're at a certain number of foot-pounds, you got to loosen up, depending, or there's a bunch of little variables in there.
We'll just have to do an AR build.
Yeah, we'll have to go ahead and do that.
Oh man, no.
Oh no, oh, shit. Yeah, it's not like we haven't built enough of these things.
I haven't. These things are dumb.
But freaking, there's a lot of stuff that you can sit there and work on. And the cool thing about just accumulating this shit over time is that you start getting more savvy on what's good to go and what isn't good to go on rifles and that kind of thing. The AK stuff that's been worked on here is ridiculous. Like, we're getting ready to thread a couple of Mac 90 barrels because you have the stuff for that.
Yep.
You know, and throw on some PWS 47 muzzle devices, because that is the shit.
Yeah, I've got to do, 3 30 calibers for me and 1 for you?
Yeah, I got to stick a 12.5-inch barrel in an upper and a 20-inch barrel in an upper.
Okay.
Because, you know, that's just the nature of things. But, again, as you can tell, there's just a lot of stuff that you kind of seen before. And this isn't, like, crazy shit, okay? This is stuff that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. Apologize for the rambly nature of
Well,
this whole thing, but you know what?
Once you get into it too, I'd recommend a good set of drill bits. Because you'll need them for something, especially if you break a fucking little screw.
Yeah, there's that too. If you end up, you know, just ripping off the teeth or stripping out the teeth on a screw head or something like that, you know, you're gonna have to drill that bastard out, and that sucks. One that I know works really good is hand drills will do the job. Yeah, like cordless power, but I've seen a lot of press drills that work really good too. Or just
I got one of those.
You know, and I didn't even see that yet.
Oh, it's it's in the side room.
And all it is just you just crank down on it, and it brings it straight down, and it's very consistent versus you having to fucking do this. You know, because I've had to do that before, and that's not fun. It's very paranoia inducing. Oh, and a soldering iron too. You know, pistols, stippling, that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and redo my stippling video because that's old as shit. I don't even know if it's still up. But I mean, just having that done because you know if you're about functionality over style, you know, I mean, shit. Soldering irons can do stuff like that, no problem, right? Where that's just what you got. You know, and if you're on functionality over style, me personally, I think the aesthetic is fine. On that baby gun, I didn't fuck around with the back strap on it just because it's a small gun. But like my 19 or whatever, or your 19, they're stippled up all the way. And once you start figuring out how to do some of the stuff on your own properly. Again, shortcuts are not my thing at all. Like, shortcuts are fucking stupid. You know, once you start learning how to do a lot of this stuff properly versus using shortcuts and that kind of stuff, that's when you can start doing things on your own, and you start looking at prices that people charge for, like, Dremel work and that kind of stuff, and you're like, what in the fuck? This cost me, you know, like, a Dremel or a soldering iron. Like, a soldering iron is like $12.
Yeah.
Or something, and then that's a one-time thing. Instead of spending $200 on a friggin' stippling job, then you can just do this shit yourself. Like, how much did that individual Dremel cost you?
I bought this for like $100. This is Dremel 4000. I think it was like $100. 8 years ago. I've had this forever, and I use it constantly on my AK wood stuff. And then this is getting to more specific stuff, but again, once I assemble my own little kit, I see that a lot. Oh, please don't dump out everywhere. There we go.
Hold on, I got you.
Yeah. And it's better. So you can kind of see all the little bits that I like. We got sand, we got little grinding, polishing stones, all the other knickknacks, cutoff wheels, other cutoff wheels, the little precision drill bits, or whatever, more grinding stones. And what's cool about this, polishing discs, yeah. Polishing disc, boom. What's cool is you just clip it together and you have this wherever. That's what you get into playing around with stuff, which is getting a little bit off topic in this video.
But a little bit, but it's one of those things too.
It's cool. It's cool to see.
Like, this is stuff that we've ended up with.
Well, yeah.
Really.
Well, there's gonna be a couple of guys on there that are like, I got all the basic shit I build. It's cool. Oh, I like the way they did this. Or, hey guys, try this or check this product out. Like with the
and one of the big reasons why how it just, you know, snowballs into this big huge freaking thing is, man, there's a lot of people that act like there's some mythical fairy grinding magic that goes into building guns. It really is not. Like, and again, there's a build video that we're going to end up doing because yes, there is such a thing as upper and lower tolerances that you have to watch for. Yes, there is such a thing to where it's like you have to make sure that if you're going to install really important components that they kind of jive well with each other, right? Yes, if you're fucking around with torque specs, you don't fuck around with torque specs, that kind of thing. Yes, there are absolutely things that you have to pay very good attention to, that people are paid money to do. But people are also paid money to change tires. And that's not hard to do. It's the second you learn it forever. It's really not hard. So, and again, I'm not going to sit here and insult the intelligence of people watching. These are, if you're watching this video, especially if you're 40 minutes into this video, you have the attention span required to learn this kind of stuff and learn it well.
They just like my voice.
Yeah, well, me too. But, and that's the thing, is that, like, if you're willing to sit there and learn, pay attention, and not fuck about and try to find ways to cheat, because trying to find ways to cheat in a mechanical building process usually doesn't help. Mm-hmm. It usually fucks things up. That's how guys get hurt and all kinds of shit. But if you're willing to do all that stuff, why would I deny that? It's dumb. So, this is just stuff that we've amassed over time. Aside of like an overcharged round, like from the upper that you just showed, like I have a video on that where there was a PMC round that was overloaded and it blasted apart my bolt, and scared me a little bit, but just check myself and I'm fine. And funny thing is, that wasn't even an assembled upper. That was a BCM factory upper. So we can sit here and say whatever we want about that. Which I'm not downing BCM at all. They're good. But like every other gun that I've assembled, no problems. It hits what it's supposed to. 3 football fields, I'm still all over that upper chest cavity. Nothing crazy. There's no magic behind it. It really isn't. The only thing that you have to pay attention to is your own individual QC. You have to retard proof everything. You cannot get lazy. You cannot shortcut, and that's about it. Like I've seen guys that have taken 3 days to finish builds because they don't want to get lazy about it. I understand that.
That's fine.
Like I'll sit there and assembling a rifle complete. Yeah, I know that there are guys that can do it much faster than me, but because I want to make sure it's done right, and because I'll sit there and double and triple check freaking measurements and all kinds of shit, it'll take me like 3 goddamn hours to do. Like every single one of them took like
plus it's fun.
A long time to do. Plus I'm sitting here talking shit, but it is what it is.
It's fun. It's fun to build these things. Well,
so
adult Legos.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as just doing this kind of stuff, this is all stuff. And funny thing is that this isn't even like everything.
No,
it's not.
No, I've got everything in the garage for automotive, so I could just grab whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned channel locks too, by the way, and I kind of ran that over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're just not here.
Yeah,
in the shop.
I have a smaller set that's at the house too. He's got a size retarded set.
I've got this. It's like this big.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had it, but honestly, I use it for taking oil filters off of cars. Just.
Yeah.
And I use it out here a lot. When's the last time we used it? I think it was when the gas block seized.
Yes.
Because of the paint.
Yeah, and we needed a set of channel locks.
We beat it with the AK-sized hammer.
Yeah, and we got a bunch of oil on it too, so that there was a little bit of slickness in there.
I think I might have that somewhere. No.
But.
No, it's not that one. But
it's not that one. But you can
That's
see
my
it.
shot out.
Yeah. Yeah. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This was his barrel that was shot out, and there was a bunch of paint on it. Right. Now this wasn't that big of a deal because there wasn't anywhere near as much paint on it. Yeah. The one that I did. The last one that I changed had like a lot of paint on it because it had lasted a while. It just got pushed back in the rotation a lot. There's a lot of paint on there. And you can actually see something similar what we had to do for that. Like we got a bunch of just like gun oil, right? And we would sink it onto the front end of this, and then we got a set of channel locks on the old gas block. We had a new one ready to go. And we just sat there with a set of channel locks and just did this over and over and over again until it came off. Shit like that. Because sometimes you just have to apply retard strength and you're good. It's like that's backstage.
It is backstage. They have no idea what's back here. I could disappear back. Hello. About on this side. I don't even know what's back here.
Yeah. So and again, like all of the tools that we've amassed are like, how many times have we started working on a job and it's like, oh shit, because of variable X or Y, now we have to go get Z. So we run off to the store, grab some tools that we, grab a part or grab some tools that we need for a project, and then we come back and now the tools are here forever. So it's just a learning process, just like anything else. And I blame the lack of education in schools. That's why people don't know how to use tools. That's why they act like it's special.
Well, they are the tool.
It's what you're retarded. That was a fucking...
Fuck you, man. That was funny.
That was a fucking dad joke.
That was fucking funny.
I'm the dad.
Oh, how many of you laughed? Exactly.
None of them.
Bullshit.
They're sitting there laughing because you're like...
Because they're doing this now.
He's just like with his shovel.
No, I'm doing it with this thing. I don't know what it does, but
Dude,
I'm using this.
I found a pacifier in my jacket today, and that was the biggest dad joke that was told today. That's messed up. And I'm not even fucking joking either. Like I found this in the gas station today.
In the gas station?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just walking around. I'm like, what the fuck is that in my pocket? And then it's one of his fucking passies. But, you know, whatever. We didn't even talk about these either.
I brought them up.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, stay on task.
A set of needle nose pliers works out good.
See?
Those needle nose pliers should probably have wire cutters on them too.
Yes.
Because one way or another, zip ties end up on guns for some reason or another. And if you need them off, you need them off.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I have a way smaller set of these. They're just the cutters.
Mm-hmm.
Just get in there. Like I said, I got a whole tray of tools up there, but these are the things that we think that you need to have to continue to do this and maintenance your own gear. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah. What I personally like is a set of pliers with a set of circular grips in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fucking a bunch of shit that you can use that for, because these aren't great for cranking down on these. Mm-hmm. You know, so if you have a set of pliers with a set of circular grips in them, it actually torques on there pretty good. You can crank them on and off, no problem. Mm-hmm. You know, that kind of stuff. It just helps out. You know, so. Yeah, it's kind of an introductory thing. I'm sure that there's stuff that you guys have used as far as tools that could help out with our little discussion that we're having here. Go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. You know, we do our thing all the time as far as that. And then we'll miss things here and there, but that's what you guys help us out with. We kind of do this, everybody. You know, we're a community or a cult, whatever. Like,
same thing.
So... really, that's where it's at. I mean, if this was helpful, let me know. You know, if you want to see more videos like this of he and I just fucking around and
being hilarious. That's all you're here for, because we're hilarious.
So when you guys, you know, want to see something, just let us know, and we'll kind of go from there. So, you know, again, if you want to come out and take training with us, this is like the 4th time I've said this today, I think, or 3rd, I'm not sure. But if you want to come out and take training with us, you absolutely can. Link in the description below for that. If you want to buy a hat from us, link in the description below also. They're good hats. They are.
I've got one. It's just upstairs.
That's how great of a hat it is.
It's so great, I don't want to disturb it.
Yep. It sleeps on its own.
That hat is so great, I only wear it to classes.
And it feeds. You know, unlike small children. But whatever. But... yeah, link in the description for those two if you guys want to support us and pick up a hat and that kind of stuff. If you want to support us through Patreon, you guys already know the deal on that. If you want to come out and take classes for $35 a month and just abuse that system, you absolutely can. I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't help out because it's consistent, because it does. But you know, rest assured, a lot of that money goes towards helping train up soldiers and that kind of thing. So, and again, school resource officer or a teacher. If you're either one of those things, and if you go through the verification process with us and it's legit, you train with us tuition free forever. You know, if you need help with equipment, we can help you out with that, but you're bringing your own friggin' ammo. I have to make money. So, you know, it is what it is. But remember, guys, regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Be easy.